At first, it feels like you finally found a person who truly sees you. They are overwhelmingly affectionate, endlessly charming, and they make you feel like the center of the universe. This is the idealization phase, and it is a trap. Eventually, the warmth vanishes. You find yourself isolated from friends, taking the blame for things you never did, while the person you fell in love with looks back at you with a cold, blank stare. We see the label narcissist everywhere lately, usually to describe someone taking too many selfies or bragging about a promotion. To clinical psychologists, the term has a much narrower meaning. This is the DSM-5, the primary manual doctors use to diagnose mental health conditions. It defines narcissistic personality disorder as a rigid condition marked by a complete lack of empathy and a deep distortion of reality. Living in that world is disorienting. When someone refuses to acknowledge your feelings or their own actions, you eventually stop trusting your own perceptions of what is true. The name comes from an ancient Greek myth. This painting shows Narcissus, a man so captivated by his own reflection that he ignored the world around him until he died. In the early 1900s, psychoanalysts like Sigmund Freud began framing this extreme self-focus as more than vanity. They saw it as a deep psychological flaw used as a defense mechanism to protect the person's ego. Modern psychology identifies two distinct subtypes. On one side are grandiose traits, representing the loud, aggressive person who demands the spotlight. On the other are vulnerable traits, representing an introverted, highly sensitive person who quietly craves that same recognition. They look different on the outside, but both types share the same internal void, a total inability to understand or care about the emotions of others. To navigate the world, narcissists rely on specific behavioral patterns. Think of these as the standard tools they use to manage the people around them. This flowchart illustrates how their mind operates. At the center is a massive ego node. To stay stable, this ego requires a constant incoming stream of admiration and special treatment from every person they encounter. As the ego demands more, it severs the connection lines to others. This is why narcissists feel entitled to ignore normal boundaries. They simply cannot connect to the feelings or needs of the people they hurt. Finally, the ego becomes parasitic, draining resources and support from everyone nearby. They use people as tools for personal gain, while secretly resenting anyone else who achieves success. If you try to point this out, they will instinctively flip the blame onto you. By making you the problem, they avoid ever having to take responsibility for their own behavior. These 7 behaviors lock together like a suit of psychological armor. They form a system built for one purpose: survival. This armor usually starts forming in childhood. It often grows out of environments filled with extreme criticism or trauma, moments that shattered the person's developing sense of who they were. To hide those broken pieces, they construct a false self. This is a flawless, golden persona designed to mask a deep, hidden core of self-loathing. When you challenge them, you threaten to expose the fragile reality beneath that mask. They use gaslighting, denying what you know to be true, to keep the false self intact. Their cruelty isn't usually a calculated plot. It is a terrified, reflexive defense mechanism used to keep their internal world from collapsing. Understanding why they act this way is the first step toward regaining your footing. The next step is building an escape plan. First, you must accept that they will likely never change. Waiting for a sincere apology or a sudden spark of empathy is waiting for something their psychology isn't equipped to provide. Next, try the gray rock method. You act as neutral and unresponsive as a plain gray stone. By refusing to give them an emotional reaction, you starve them of the supply they need to fuel their ego. Reconnect with the support systems you were cut off from and set rigid boundaries that protect your own peace of mind. If you are worried that you might be the narcissist, you probably aren't. A true narcissist rarely questions their own perfection. It's time to stop trying to fix a broken system